Hello everybody, welcome to Andrew Broussard Watercolors. Today we're going to do a improv landscape using two complementary colors. This color combination is fantastic and gives you a nice dark when you mix the two together, and for some reason there's not much of a tonal shift that takes place whenever it dries, so you don't have to keep working it and trying to get it in the dark direction that you might try to get. So it's really really fun. It's quinacridone rose and phthalo green. In front of me I have a quarter sheet of Stonehenge aqua. I'm just soaking it and letting it stretch with those clamps. So let's get started. Now, one of the cats is making noise in the other room, so I'm just going to peek out there in a second once I get these out. And I apologize for that, but I also need to get this cap open. If you ever have any issues with these, you could run them underneath hot water. You can also use these crab claw crackers to open that up. Okay, so we've got a lot of paint out on the palette, and let me make sure the cats are alive. It's all good out here. Yeah, they are. Yep, the cats are all good, so no worries there. So without further ado, the approach that I take with this two-color palette is the same as I take with the other tonal palette that I use with the sap green and Venetian red, with a different color effect with these. So I pretty much just mix and then go to town. I don't have anything planned composition wise, but we'll let it create itself. Stretch the paper out. Just gonna make shapes and let the image appear. Either the paper isn't wet right there or something might have gotten on it. We can check and see. The paper probably wasn't wet right there. Sometimes if you have something on your fingers that oils from your hands, or if you use a lotion or hair products or something like that and it's on your fingers, that can get on the paper and cause a spot that resists. So you want to be careful of the handling with the paper. Okay. So this is a really fun color combination. I highly suggest utilizing it. I think I saw it used by, I'm not sure what his first name might be, James. James Gurney. He has a huge website with a lot of different blogs and paintings and whatnot. And I think he's more of a direct painter, but his website I think is Gurney's Journey. So check that out. He has very cool two color palette combinations. I'm just building up the shapes. I'm just using the Hake brush just to push paint around, and the wet and wet is letting things move. We go for a moody nighttime type scene. We'll have the moon in this region. So I haven't really done many watercolor paintings lately. I've been experimenting a lot with oils. I've been looking at glazing with oils. That's where you mix in a transparent, like a medium, and it thins it out and kind of makes it more transparent, and you just apply it in layers. That's a long process, but I've been experimenting with that. I've been playing with both that and the gouache with portrait paintings. By the way, I've been revamping this art room, and unfortunately I managed to, I believe, throw away 5 or 6 tubes of gouache accidentally. I think it somehow made its way into the wrong bag and got thrown away, and been pretty bummed out about that. Yeah, just been having a lot of projects going and working on things, putting shelves up in this room. Tomorrow there's a farmer's market, so we're going to see how that goes. That'll be the first market event that I've done in half a year. I'm not sure if I'm going to demo during it or not. I've been thinking about it. There's a lot of transporting paintings and whatnot. Just creating kind of an S shape. Let's grab some more paint. I do find that I use a lot of paint with this combination. I'm not really sure why. I think we should build up a tree structure here. It's kind of been my go-to for preventing the eye from going off the page. But I have to build it up in terms of a dark for that right side of it. Building up that dark and that slight reflection that would have, so it's kind of a waterway through here. The eye stops and then comes right back behind. At least that's the plan. What we haven't done is any lifting or texturizing, which we can use the paper towel for. You can get some really interesting effects with it. So we're wet and wet, and this allows us to soften, to blend, to texturize, etc. Trying to mix it darker. Let's take a step back, take a look at how this is being built. So now the goal, or the direction of this is to increase pigment as the paper dries. I don't want to dry off the paper just yet because I want to get nice soft effects, but I want to increase the pigment for that darkness and that tonal contrast. But notice as I put it in, it still diffuses and softens, etc. So I'm just kind of passing back over these shapes and just building them up. Let's play with the paper towel for a little bit. Let's get a little bit of light on these edges. Lift out the moon. push this darker. Let me grab the rigger, and let me grab some more pure pigment. I need to get something to lift that brush hair that got on the paper. Am I getting it? Okay, mixing straight from the tube. This is going to be dark, and I'll probably grab some of this in a moment with the hake. I'll create kind of a wall right here with vines and branches, and it'll come this way. This is still softened, but we should be able to get a darker area now. Was able to grab the fuzzy? I think so. What I think I want is a darker spot right here, and I want to bring down the reflection next to the reflection of the darker spot. So, darker reflection. And then moon. It's going to catch a little bit up here, but let's see if we get a little bit of moon reflection right here on the water. I'm just using the paper towel just to lift up a little bit, add a little textures. Oop, I just dragged it right here, but you see how organic that looks, and it actually is pretty interesting. So don't be afraid to just let it happen. It's kind of like when people take masking fluid and splatter it on all willy-nilly and then paint on top, and then from there they'll lift at the end and it'll have interesting like patterns that were, you know, organic and just not repeatable. Sorry, I'm not talking too much on this one, but hopefully it's just more of a watching type painting and you guys can see what I'm doing. Like I'm taking lines of dark to kind of create a textured surface on top of the water. Lighter mixtures for stuff that's further back. I think what I'm going to want to do is do a dry off and put another tree structure that's closer and darker. Let's get everything flat though. Let's see. Let's do a little dry off. I don't know if it's going to be a complete one. We'll see. I'll kind of play it by ear. Ooh, you know what else? Before I do that, I could do some scraping. So I'm scraping the widest part. I'm pulling it left to right. I could accentuate this backside with it dark. Could also allow it to come up and do a little bit of counter change. We'll see. Okay. It's not super dry, but it's dry enough for what we want to do. I'm going to grab the number 4 rigger just so I can get more pigment and not have to go back and forth with the number 1. A little bit of water to make it flow easier. Gonna kind of trace around and make some interesting tree shapes. Grab the hake. This helps it kind of sit in place and let the layer establish itself. This is just kind of foreground. Like I said, I wound up using a lot of pigment with this combination. Paint. It's not like it's all getting washed away either. Here's my water. I don't think I've cleaned the brush once. I think that's Hammy. That's doing the crying. Hammy. For some reason, he has a personality of like a food. He's kind of like a hoarder, that cat, Hammy, where whenever I get up and walk towards the kitchen, he'll go running in front of me over towards the food container. I gotta feed him multiple times a day, but he'll do that. But the thing is, even if I put food out, he doesn't go crazy with eating it. Like, he just, I guess, wants me to have food out. I mean, there's probably a little bit of food in the dish right now. I just I don't know what type of mentality, what's he doing. Where we have 3 pet rats, and the one named Opal does the exact same thing, where Opal will store food, like hoard food, but not eat it as much. Willow will eat food just nonstop, but Opal will like store it. She'll come out for a treat. You hand her a treat, and she'll like hide it and put it away. Then she'll come out in like another spot as if she's trying to trick us into thinking it's a different rat. And we'll then put food there. It's weirdest thing. And it's weird to see that like cats have different personalities amongst themselves, and like pet rats have different personalities. And we have the one bearded dragon named Naga, who made an appearance in one video where she ran across the painting. I'm just taking the rigger and just kind of adding a lot of, just branches and whatnot and just having fun while I tell you about the animals. Naga will, she's a grumpsicle, but I think bearded dragons are usually grumpy. Like, I can take her out right now and she's never bit or anything like that, but she's just a little grumpy and all that. Now, with trees, you can pass over the same branch if you want to darken it. You could pass over a side of it if you want to darken that backside. You can also just do another line, not even on top of it, something like that, and that'll kind of give you more depth and more natural feel to it. You see, we have these ones that lightened up back here, and we're sitting on top now to create that layer of depth, and that was due to us going wet and wet, and there was a drying shift that did take place, but it's just seems like I can get just more of a crisp darkness mixture at this level after we dried, which I know in the beginning I said I don't have that much of an issue with a drying shift with this color palette. Let's see. Oh. Let me shift this over a little bit just so I can see a little bit better. Let's see how it's looking color-wise, tonal-wise. Let's do a dry off and see where we're at. We might call it done in a moment. I think that I'm ready to call this one done. You could pick around it some more, you can put more branches in and whatnot, but I think we'll leave it at this. I hope you enjoyed. Of course, if you're interested, like, subscribe, comment down below. I do have a link to the Patreon account if you ever want to support this channel. I do have two really cheap tiers, like a $2 and a $5, and that just helps keep things going. And the little bit more expensive tier has some exclusive content. So, hope you all enjoyed, and I'll talk to you all soon. Have a great day.